Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from the fourth group. Today we would like to presenting about national languages and language planning. Special thanks to Mr. Farhan for letting us to presenting the materials of sociolinguistic. I am Fitri Yuliandari as the first speaker and Aisyah Nurfaidah as the second speaker. Now I'm Fitri Yuliandari as the first speaker would like to present about national languages. So what is national language? National language is the language of a political, cultural, and social unit. It is generally developed and used as a symbol of national unity. Its functions are to identify the nation and unite its people. And then in multilingual countries, the government often declares a particular language to be national language for political reasons. Besides the national language, there is an official language, which by contrast is simply a language which might be used for government business. Its function is primarily utilitarian rather than symbolic. It is possible, of course, for one language to serve both functions. The identification of official languages might also be necessary when the choice of national language is problematic. In multilingual India, for example, attempts to give Hindi sole status as the national language have not succeeded. 14 regional Indian languages are recognized as official languages alongside English and Hindi for the country as a whole. And in addition, different states each have their own official languages. For example, in Paraguay, the government used two different terms to distinguish between Spanish and Guarani. Guarani was declared as the national language while Spanish was an official language. Next is official status and minority languages. Because of its colonial history as well as its value as a world language and international lingua franca, English is an official language in many countries throughout the world, such as Pakistan, Fiji, Vanuatu, Jamaica, and Bahamas. But English is not legally an official language of England, the USA, or New Zealand. In these countries, it has not been considered necessary to legislate that the language of the majority is an official language. In New Zealand, although English is de facto the official language of government and education, Maori and New Zealand Sign Language are the two languages which have legal or de jure status as official languages. Many minorities would like to gain official status for their languages. The costs in terms of providing services and information in all official languages are considerable and most governments count them carefully. In Canada, for instance, as well as French speakers and the indigenous Canadian peoples such as Cree and Mohawk. Next is what drives a national language. The development of a single national language as a way of symbolizing the unity of a nation. For instance, English in England, French in France, Japanese in Japan, Spanish in Spain. And then development of a national language has often played an important part due to establish a distinct national identity to secure independence from colonial rule. And then in other multilingual countries such as China, the Philippines, and Indonesia, where there are large populations speaking hundreds of different vernaculars, a national language is not only a useful lingua franca and official language. It is also served a symbolic and unifying function for these nations. And then the significance of political power in the choice of national language is particularly clear. For the next session, will be delivered by Aisyah as the second speaker. Thank you.
My name is Aisyah Nurfaidah and I will continue the presentation that explain about language planning. So what is language planning? Language planning is defined most simply as deliberate language change. Language planners generally focus on specific language problems. Their role is to develop a policy of language use which will solve the problems appropriately in particular speech communities. Codification of orthography. Codification and vocabulary expansion are typically of prime concern from language academies. Missionaries were often good linguists who produced a spelling system which accurately represented the pronunciation of the language. From the example, inevitably there were problems. However, in someone, for instance, the sound represented in English as was accurately identified as a single. Developing vocabulary. More often a language will need vocabulary for more specialized or formal domains. We have seen, for instance, that language planners may need to develop a variety of words into new age domains, as with Swahili, Tok Pisin, Indonesian, and Nux, or alternatively turn words into new L domains, as in the case of Hebrew, Bookmall, and to some extent Mandarin Chinese. What is acquisition planning? Acquisition planning means the process by which the efforts of all personnel responsible for phases of the acquisition lifecycle are coordinated and integrated to a comprehensive plan for fulfilling the agency need in a timely manner and at a reasonable cost. The problem of this planning is to ensure that the government meets its needs in the most effective, economical, and timely manner. That's all from first group. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.